Well, hello, welcome, Power Partners. This is our informational barnyard playground of Starstyle, Be the Star You Are. We're being brought to the airwaves under the auspices of Be the Star You Are charity and broadcasting on Voice America Media. This is the Empowerment Channel. I am your host, Cynthia Brian. In today's show, we're going to be talking about two things that might be important to you. I know they are important to me. One is showering. Is it necessary to shower daily? How often is it necessary to wash your hair? Should you take a long or short shower? We'll be giving you some of that information from experts, and you can then do with it what you wish. But the next thing is about keeping clean when traveling, because traveling is a dirty business, and there are plenty of microbes, including bacteria and viruses, and they can spread on planes, trains, buses, taxis, just anywhere that, other people are. So, how can you avoid the germs of traveling, and how do you keep them away from your home when you return from your vacation? I know I love to travel, but boy, I want to make sure that I don't bring anything home with me. The miracle moment for today is brought to you by Be the Star You Are charity. The website is bethestarur.org, and Be the Star You Are works to increase literacy and positive media programs, just like this program. And please visit the website and get involved. It's from Mahatma Gandhi. Our greatest ability as humans is not to change the world, but to change ourselves. I think we're all having to do that these days with what's happening in the world because the world is a crazy, crazy place. So I think that somehow we have to change our thought processes and our attitudes and keep our faces to the sunshine so we don't see so many shadows. Showers. How often should we be showering? This is a question people ask a lot. It's like if you have the water, of course. Now, water's a expensive and kind of rare commodity, and more so in certain places. California, it's expensive. But should you shower every day, skip a day here and there? Well, about two-thirds of American adults take a shower every single day. Australians, interestingly, actually shower more often, but Asians shower a bit less. Now, I know that many years ago when I lived in Holland, the first time I had moved to Europe, I was really surprised to know that there was just a bath day or shower day only once a week. And that was all that we were allowed is once a week. And I was like, oh my gosh. But we did have sinks in our rooms where you would kind of give yourself a sponge bath. So, you kind of get into that idea of doing it. But here in the United States and basically its world, there's no right frequency that's going to fit everyone. But for most people, taking one shower a day might be about right. Now, the reason for a daily shower, rinse away the allergens, the irritants, the bacteria, the viruses that have accumulated on your skin over the day. And if you have a normal skin, you can wash your whole body in the shower. If you have sensitive skin, you should shower, but use gentle soap on your underarms and other areas. Now, I always debate with my husband about when to take a shower because I really love taking a shower in the evening. When I come home from work, I want to do just what I said. I want to rinse away anything that has got on me that day. Throw my clothes in the wash, get rid of the allergens, the bacterias, any viruses, any dirt, anything that's happened. Now, he's the opposite. He likes to take a shower in the morning. So it's for you to decide, but I'm going to err on the side of nighttime or after you have been, you've been working, you've been sweating. At least for me, I might have been out in the garden. I might have been in the barnyard. I could have manure on me. There's no way I'm going to bed like that. Now, some people have oilier skin and they produce more sweat. And for those people, once a day is maybe really important. Activity level is another important factor. And if you are working or exercising outside, as I always am, you probably need to shower afterwards. And especially, I always recommend showering afterwards if you've been out in nature or in the garden because you don't want to have ticks or poison oak or poison ivy. Those kind of things can get on you, after if you don't take a shower. So there might even be days when you might need more than a shower if it's really, really hot out. But you have to remember you can overdo showering because if you overdo it, you actually wash away natural skin, moisturizes, and then what happens is you get dry and itchy skin. Now, when it comes to your hair, you do not have to wash your hair every time you take a shower. How often you wash your hair depends on your hair length and also your ethnicity. Every other day is about right for most people. For African Americans, maybe once every 2 weeks might be enough because washing too often might make the hair dry and brittle. So you got to really figure out what it is that's going to be right for you. Now, the oil in your hair comes from oil glands in your scalp. And as you get older, you make less oil, so you may need to wash less. And the length of your hair is also a really big factor. I have long hair. I don't have oily scalp, but I can get dry ends because of the long hair. So that way, you want to really shampoo your scalp and then use conditioner on the ends. Now, you may be washing your hair too much if your hair is dry or brittle. Men with short hair can wash, every day, and they probably always need or they don't need to use a conditioner. But basically, you want to figure out what's going to be best for you. Now, when it comes to length, I have to admit that I used to, before the water crunch and, before there was really the issue of saving water, I used to really luxuriate. That was my time in the evening that I could take 15 minutes and just be in that shower. I loved a hot shower. But now I have big buckets in the shower to catch every drop. And I only take like a 3-minute shower. It's kind of like turn the water on, scrub down, and then turn the water off. But for most people, you really shouldn't take one that's longer than 5 minutes. You don't want the water to be too hot. It's not better to take a shower in the morning or at night, according to experts. Both are okay. It just really kind of it goes by what I was saying earlier of what you're doing during the day. Now, some people don't shower enough, and that can cause problems. Of course, we know you could get body odor, but you could also get skin infections. You could get acne, or you could get flare-ups of eczema or dandruff. If you would think that eczema and dandruff are caused by dry hair, but it's yeast that lives in oil glands of the hair on your scalp and body. And when you get too much yeast from not showering enough, that's what causes the eczema and the dandruff. Interesting, huh? I know. A lot of people don't even know that. Is showering every day bad, though? That's something else. You might have heard that it could be bad for your skin because some theories are that washing away too much of your skin's bacteria can upset the balance of your healthy and harmful skin bacteria, which is called your skin microbiome. But another theory is that you can weaken your body's immune system by showering too much. The reality is neither of these should be a problem unless you're using too much soap. You can also use an antibacterial soap. I mean, think about the Middle Ages. I mean, I don't really want to think about it because I'm sure it was a really stinky, smelly time because people actually believed then that washing your body was washing away all the good things. And so people wore the same clothes day in, day out. They didn't bathe. And of course, there were a lot of infections and plagues and all of that because they didn't know that sanitizing or being clean was good for you. They thought just the opposite. So, talking about health, the obviously people nobody wants body odor. Body odor isn't unhealthy in itself, but you do want to shower enough to avoid it. I remember going on a plane once, and at the end of people getting on the plane, this couple walked in and they smelled so badly that literally people started gagging as they walked down the aisle, and they were actually asked to leave the plane. I have no idea what the issue was, but I remember myself gagging when they walked by. They smelled so badly. So I'm assuming they hadn't taken a bath or a shower probably in a very long time, and who knows what was on their clothes. Natural oils in your skin can build up and they can increase your risk for acne. And again, as I said, yeast that lives in your hair glands will cause dandruff or eczema. What eczema is, it's a dry, red, and itchy area that gets on your skin. It gives you patches. And if you have a history of eczema, you probably do need to shower every day to get rid of that bacteria and the allergens that will trigger a flare up. Now, for healthy skin, it's better to avoid fragrance in soaps. I know they smell so good. I especially like lavenders, but if you can get natural fragrances or natural soaps, because fragrance and soaps actually pull moisture from your skin. So if you can use shower products that are fragrance free or are labeled for sensitive skin, you're going to be in better shape. So, if you reuse a fragrance-free moisturizer after your shower, that's also going to be really, really good for you. And instead of rubbing your skin, with a towel, pat it dry and then put on the moisturizer within 3 minutes, because a little bit of moisture in your skin helps the moisturizer or the lotion go in. And just finally remember that your skin will change as you go through the seasons of the year, and it'll also change as you age. So your skin is probably going to be drier in the winter and moister and oilier in the summer. So just be aware of that. And basically, you'll pretty much know when you need to take a shower. But with that being said, do remember that water is a very valuable commodity, and I really do suggest that you save every drop. The buckets that I put in my showers, when the bucket is almost full, but I can still carry it, it goes into my potted plants that are on decks and balconies, and it's just a great way to feel like I'm not wasting a drop. Well, you're listening to Cynthia Brian. This is Star Style. Be the star you are. I'll be back with a business bite in just a moment. And then after that, we're going to talk about cleanliness for vacations and while traveling. Please stay with me. Do you ever feel like you are burning out from work? Well, how do you beat business burnout? Working in any industry can be so tough. You have long hours, there's stress, and of course, we always have run ins with Murphy's Law. This can make anyone a candidate for burnout. Burnout can result in serious emotional and physical problems, as well as a decline in profits. So, I want to give you a few tips for beating the burnout blues. First of all, identify the symptoms that are affecting your performance and do the most important things first. Stop talking and start listening. Exercise more. When you exercise, you're going to feel a little bit better. Just do a little bit at a time. Catch people doing something right. Make sure you take a break, or better yet, take a vacation. So many people don't take their vacations or their days off, and that is a real, real ingredient for getting burnout. Help someone else. When you help other people, you really help yourself. Feel free to vent your frustrations. You got to get it out. Reevaluate what's important to you in life and write it down. And maybe do something 360 degrees different from the business that you are in, and do it just for fun. So volunteer somewhere. Take some deep breaths, breathe deeply, And one of the greatest prescriptions for beating business burnout is to laugh more. Get a couple of funny videos or read a funny book. Remember, you are the star of your own performance. Turn your passions into profits. I'm Cynthia Brian with another business bite from Starstyle. For more information, visit cynthiabrian.com. That's Cynthia Brian, Brian with an I.com. Well, I am back. Welcome back to Star Style. Be the star you are. I'm Cynthia Brian, and we're going to talk about traveling. I just love traveling, as I know so many of you do. But airplanes and boats and trains and taxis and Ubers and whatever, all kinds of things. They see countless passengers every day, and high-touch surfaces like tray tables or seat belts or armrests or overhead bins are handled without being disinfected between flights or, between rides. And that lets microbes transfer to your clothing. So, spending hours sitting near other passengers can also leave germs clinging to your clothes. Now, one of the things that I've done when I travel is the minute I get home, or when I get to a location after traveling, especially if I've been on an airplane, when I take my clothes off, and of course I'm going to take that shower I was talking about, I throw my clothes straight into the wash if I can. That's as soon as I get home. If I still somewhere else where I, don't have a washer, then I'm going to put them in a plastic bag, which is going to be my laundry bag that I'll take home and wash. And that helps prevent germs from spreading to my other clothes or when I got home to my family or to my pets. Now, I know it sounds extreme sometimes, but there is science-backed reasons to wash travel clothes immediately. So I thought I will talk about maybe how when you get home. So here's what you should know and why you might want to consider washing your travel clothes as soon as possible. We'll talk about how germs circulate on planes. Now, planes themselves, they may not be inherently dirty, they may not look dirty, but there are plenty of ways that the microbes, including bacteria and viruses, can spread during a flight. From brushing your sleeve, just brushing your sleeve, think about that, against the armrest or tray table, to resting your head on the seat back, or even standing in the lavatory queue. Every single interaction offers a chance for these tiny hitchhikers to transfer onto your clothes. Now, the air that that's all around us and it's all around other living things we encounter, it is always surrounded by a small cloud of microbes, skin particles, dust particles, and things that come directly from our bodies or our clothing. So as people gather, these little personal clouds, they mingle. Some of it's exchanged, some of it sticks to our clothing as we touch or brush against or sit or lie on different surfaces. Even when we just pass by people, pets, animals, even plants. And then beyond surface contact, germs can also travel through the air when people breathe, talk, cough, or sneeze. And that is letting infection droplets settle on us. Now, I know COVID is over, but for me, when I travel, I am one of those weird people that I still put on a mask as soon as I get to the airport or whatever mode I'm going to be going on. I put that mask on. And I do leave it on. I hate wearing masks. I should tell you that. I really hate wearing masks. I leave it on the plane as well. And I also, if I'm going to, we all want to rest our heads, I actually take a small, tiny pillow that I put a pillowcase on that I can rest my head on while I'm on the plane because I really don't want my body to be touching all that stuff. However, you're still going to get it. So, respiratory viruses are truly the most common infectious diseases that are transmitted on planes, and they are the easiest to spread. Our shoes are real big culprits as well. They pick up microbes from the ground as we move through airports and planes. And anything that we touch can transfer these particles to our hands, our clothing, our skin. And from there, it goes to our mouth, our noses, our eyes through everyday actions like eating, rubbing, or scratching. Now, when it comes to shoes, well, we don't wear shoes in the house, but think about it. You're on a plane or a train or a boat or, walking through the airport and you go to the restroom. Have you ever been in a restroom and the floors are wet? Well, what do you think they're wet with? And that is being tracked on your shoes. If you don't take your shoes off when you get home, you are tracking that into your home and bringing all that bacteria there. I mean, not only do I take my shoes off, but then I wash my shoes and leave them to dry before I put them on. But no shoes in the house. Now, what about airplane HEPA filters? What can they do and what can't they do? Now, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention on air travel, airplane air quality is actually better than most people think. Commercial jets mix outside air with recirculated air, but first it passes through HEPA filters that capture supposedly 99.97% of particles that are zero point 0.3 microns or larger, and that does significantly lower the risk of airborne illness. But keep in mind when you're at the airport, there's not the HEPA filter. So you are just breathing in all those coughs and sneezes and sniffles that other people are experiencing. So, but on an airplane with the HEPA filters, it might be less likely that particles are going to settle on your clothing. Um, but there are times when the air exchange isn't running, such as getting off the plane and on the plane, or even just waiting on the runway. And so this is why it's a good idea to wear a mask. And it's also worth being mindful of your surroundings while sitting at the gate, where you're likely breathing unfiltered air and you're breathing that with everybody else that's in the airport. And I know even during COVID times, because they were making you, if there was that whole idea, if you had COVID, you needed to stay home and isolate, and people were sick and they were still traveling, because maybe some people didn't even know they were sick yet. Other people knew they were sick, but they wanted to get home or whatever. So, you can't depend on other people to keep you healthy. You can only depend on your own. Transmission risk increases within about 1 row or even 1 meter. So if somebody is in the row above you or behind you, coughing and sneezing, that can send droplets onto your sleeves, your lap, your scarf, your hat, whatever you're doing. And that's even when there is that strong HEPA cabin filtration in place. So the risks of germs on your clothes, it can be many. There are a few handy and hardy bacterial fungal spores. There are parasite cysts. There are worm eggs. There are protein-coated virus particles. All of these can potentially last for months to years if they're not removed by soap and water, or not neutralized or wiped away by disinfectants, or washed away in the laundry. And you have to note, some of these bacteria or spores or cysts or worm eggs or whatever are really resilient to temperature changes, humidity, and even to common disinfectants like alcohol gels or wipes. I do always carry wipes with me to wipe down the seats and the tables. I know, and some people think it might be too much, but if you can stay pretty healthy, that really does help you. But that's another reason when you get home from any trip, throw all your clothes into the wash or take them to the dry cleaner, whatever it is that you do, so that these things are not going to spread to your other clothing in your closet. Now, the vast majority of microbes that we come in contact with, they might be harmless, or they might even be neutralized by any antimicrobial compound on our skin. like our tears, our saliva. But sometimes they sneak into our upper respiratory membranes and can cause infections of your immune system. And maybe your immune system isn't going to respond before they start replicating really rapidly. So, in general, viruses can cause respiratory illnesses, which can remain on a surface anywhere from several hours to several days. The Mayo Clinic states that the survival rate of a virus depends on a few factors, including the climate, the indoor environment, and the type of surface the virus lands on. Some viruses stay more infectious on fabrics. So, textiles, clothes and stuff, they can add as a fomite, which refers to inanimate objects or surfaces like clothing, bedding, seat cushions, which will pass along infections, viruses, and bacteria, sometimes at lower levels, but it passes them to your hands, to your doorknobs, your counters, your couchers. So the risk is lower than airborne spread, but it is not zero. So, to minimize the spread of germs after a flight, especially if anyone at home is elderly, pregnant, young, or immunocompromised, you want to remove all those clothes as soon as you get home, and especially remove your shoes before you walk in the door. Drop travel clothes directly into a hamper or put them directly into a washer. Don't shake them, because then if you're shaking them, unless you're going to shake it outside, you're going to disperse the particles. And then as soon as you put the stuff in the wash your hands. Launder clothes with detergent and warm or hot water if the fabric allows. Machine dry on warm or high, because heat and detergents inactivate many microbes effectively. Now, last week I was talking about laundering and how it's good to launder with cold water. It usually does the same, except for when you are trying to get rid of any germs or microbes that might be on your clothing. And that's when you want warm or hot water. Now, when it comes to pets, while it's rare for humans to pass infections to our companions, our furry companions, through clothing, it's still smart to change out of your travel clothes, wash your hands before any close contact. And there's also some overlooked steps that can help reduce germ spread, like disinfecting your phone. How many times have you disinfected your phone? Most people don't. Disinfect the carry-on handles or the straps, or your reusable water bottle mouthpieces. I always put my water bottle immediately in the dishwasher. These are really high-touch travel items that come into contact with seats and lavatories. So you can even take it a step further by showering before changing into clean clothes, which that's what I do. And that will quickly remove whatever settled on your skin and hair during the journey. So, take your shoes off, put your clothes in the laundry, jump in the shower, wash your hair, and then you should be pretty good. You should be pretty good after that. But there's still always some risk while traveling. So you can improve your odds of staying healthy by making sure that no matter where you are or in what kind of mode of transportation, that you wash your hands always after using the bathroom and always before eating and after eating. And you can, before you travel, you can evaluate yourself, talk to your family, make sure that no one is sick, because if they are, or you've been sick recently, there is an immune recovery period during which you could be at higher risk for infecting other people during air travel. So, as much as we don't want to get sick ourselves, we really don't want to make other people sick. So, let's take care of ourselves and take care of our family and also take care of others. So there you have it. You want to shower, wash your clothes, and remove your shoes. Well, that is our show for today. I like to quote what Oprah Winfrey said. It's cheers to a new year. It's another chance for us to get it right. So let's try to get it right this year. I know I will. So by making sure you're tuned in to Starstyle, Be the Star You Are, every Wednesday at 4 with me, Cynthia Brian. You can tune in to Express Yourself Teen Radio at 3 p.m. on Sundays. Both are right here on the Voice America Media, the Empowerment Channel. You can change your life, you can make your dreams come true, and you can stay clean at the same time. For more information about Starstyle Productions, or to purchase any of my books, please visit cynthiabrian.com. Brian is Brian. To make a donation to the charity Be the Star You Are, or to get involved, visit bethestaryouare.org. As always, my aim is to encourage, inspire, inform, amuse, and motivate. See beyond your physical being. Know you are already the star you dreamed of becoming. Cherish the past, dream of the future, but celebrate this moment of your life. And consider picking up one of our books at the Be the Star You Are store on the website, bethestaryouare.org. Just click on the store because it's like a garden in your pocket. Until next week, when we play again here in the barnyard, remember that love always wins, kindness always prevails, and smiles keep us happy. I am Cynthia Brian for Starstyle. I thank you and encourage you to be kind, inclusive, truthful, live with integrity, embrace cultures, love unconditionally, encourage others, be generous, read, lead, succeed, communicate, collaborate, innovate, and be your unapologetically authentic self because everyone counts. So just go out into the world and be the star you are. Thanks for joining me. We'll be back on Wednesday with a new segment. And one other quick thing is if you're interested in wellness, definitely check out the summit that I'm involved in with Deborah Myers. It is a wellness summit. You can find it on the website at cynthiabrian.com as well as our radio show. Thanks again. Ciao.